I will say it, and I don't care if you get mad at me, but the investment piece is the biggest scam and lie in the luxury fashion industry. Hello fashionistas and welcome to my channel. I am Angie and I am a certified fashionista as well. And if you're wondering about the certification, I was voted as best dressed in high school and that counts till this day. The investment piece, the timeless piece, here how it goes. Very recently, a friend of mine actually saved up quite a lot of money because he wanted to buy her very first luxury designer bag. Now, she had an upcoming trip to Tokyo, which always serves for purchases in skincare and in luxury goods. I mean, they have the best second-hand market out there. And in any case, she was planning this trip and she was like, okay, here's my chance. They have a huge market. They even have a big market for, Hermes bags that are not so easy to get in the boutique if you don't have a purchasing history usually. So here is my chance and here is my time to shine. She goes there, she does her thing, she gets back and I ask her, where's the bag, girl? And she actually shows me a gorgeous gold Birkin 25 with gold hardware. Everything is in pristine condition. It's almost like new. I mean, you could not even tell it was a second-hand bag. I mean, it was amazing. It was so extremely beautiful. Obviously, after seeing how pretty this bag is, my first question was, how do you find it? Do you actually take it on your day-to-day stuff and all of that? And how did you end up buying that color combination? Because again, Japan has a huge market of bags. An enormously huge bag. You cannot even understand. It's not hyped up. It's really what you see online. In any case, her reaction to my question wasn't what I expected, because her first and initial sentence was, oh, this is what everyone suggested me to get, and obviously it's a pretty bag, and I actually got it. I haven't really used it until now, because I don't want to ruin it, I don't want to scratch it, and so on and so forth. Now, obviously I get the part, I don't want to scratch it, I don't want to ruin it, etc, though please use your things. But what's stand out to me was the fact that the first thing she said is that that's what everyone suggested me to get. And that's where the investment piece problem comes in. Now let's do a trip down to memory lane. The investment piece and the whole capsule wardrobe logic started around the 80s and 90s, where minimalism was the thing. Everyone was dressing minimalistic. The brands were creating minimalistic clothes because back then, fast fashion wasn't what it is today. Shein obviously didn't exist, as you can imagine. Amazon was at the very early stages and it wasn't something you shopped fashion from. My dog is going crazy. Yeah. So the goal of all this was to have fewer, higher quality pieces, and obviously pieces that you can wear across, all functions, all day long, from day to night, from your 9 to 5 until you're out for drinks with the girl. This logic obviously is amazing. Now, where we went wrong is on the fact that we are trying to imitate the capsule wardrobe, first of all, with lower quality pieces, and second of all, when we want to justify a higher amount of money purchase, so we don't feel guilty. Also, that's a thing. That's a thing that can happen. We tend to go for the safe piece, and sometimes we even tend to go for what people think or what we think we should go for. You know what I mean? For example, I'm someone that loves colorful clothes. I love oversized clothes, but at the same time, I also like to have an oversized but structured blazer, let's say. I love sunglasses, and I could never imagine myself buy a black Birkin with silver hardware. Never in my life. However, when you're on the verge of buying something and you see that the piece is beautiful, objectively it's beautiful, the craftsmanship is impeccable, for sure. And then you have people telling you, oh, you're spending 10K for a bag. That's a lot of money. So you should buy something that you can wear from now until you're 90 years old, that should go with every single outfit, yada. And this way, you might fall into that investment piece trap. Because, first of all, you and only you truly know your personal style and what you like. You truly know what your daily life looks like. Priorities change, daily life changes. I mean, before 2020, we all went to offices. Now the majority are nomads, they're working remotely, they're working hybrid. You might have kids, you might have pets. If you have kids, you need a bigger bag. If you have pets, you might also need a bigger bag. Things in life shift. So the fact that we think, oh, because this is expensive, it should be something that I will use forever, it's very wrong, because you don't know how your life will turn out. So this is the most important thing. And this is why I always advise my friends and closed ones to buy what gives you butterflies. Fashion is meant to be fun. Fashion is meant to make you happy. They are not objects that we actually need to survive. We get that out of the equation. So automatically we need to make sure that they fulfill something inside to make us happy and give us that excitement that, you know, this is a piece that I love, this is a piece that I want to wear, and this is not something that will always sit on my background and never being used, because this is not an investment. This is anxiety in a dust bag. Let me just say that. Another very important thing to consider when you're thinking about that investment piece is that if you don't buy what you initially wanted, you will end up shopping more and more and more, because that urge for the specific product is not fulfilled. So you will end up with more and more items because, again, it's not what you initially wanted. I'm sure some of you that are watching this video will be like, yeah, okay, you're telling us all this stuff, but how do we actually don't fall into that trap and don't fall into the fact that other people will always suggest what feels better for them? I have a very simple way to always stick to the plan. Or at least majority of the time. I ask myself 3 very important questions. Question number 1 is, will I actually reach for this item if I have it in my clothes? No. Is it timeless? Will it hold its value? Is it worth it, the investment? Also, let me just say here that talking about an investment and if something will hold its value, it matters only if you're planning to sell your stuff. Personally, I'm not this type of people. Like, if I made the purchase on something, because it's usually something that I actually really wanted, so I know that I'm not going to sell it, I'm not going to do anything, and I will keep using it and have it on my wardrobe. So this is a super important question. You need to have in mind that, oh, if I have it on myself, will I actually do this? Grab it, wear it, take it on my arm, whatever, wear it on my feet. And go out, actually go out. Question number 2, does it feel like me, or does it feel like the person I think I should be? And usually this is based on the advice you receive. Again, crucial. Does it make sense for you? Does it make sense for your style? Does it make sense for the rest of your wardrobe? I mean, you need to consider this fact, and no advice to change that fact, because I might have a wardrobe full of black garments, black shoes, black bag. I'm not going to buy a green bag. It won't make any sense. And if, for example, I'm out with a friend and let's say I have this black wardrobe, but this friend is dressing very colorfully and very, maximalist and all of that, she will obviously suggest and say how pretty the green bag is. But for my wardrobe, it will make 0 sense. So this is something very important to answer before you make your purchase. Question number 3, and I think this is also very important when you're initiating a relationship with a luxury brand, is, am I paying for the actual object or the idea of the object? This is a big conversation to have, to be honest. But personally, I think when you actually want to expand your wardrobe and, initiate a relationship with a luxury brand, craftsmanship and quality, it's something you should always consider. Like, in my head, it doesn't make sense to spend, 6,000 euros in a dress, let's say, that it's 100% made out of polyester. Simply because it's something I can find everywhere for not a fraction of a price. It's a simple phrase to say. I mean, at this point, we can find clothes for 2 and 3 euros. Insane, if you ask me, but still, it is possible. And sometimes it's very easy to fall into the trap, oh, this is designer, this is Chanel, this is Van Cleef. And at the end of the day, the craftsmanship and the quality might not be there. You might even go to a smaller scale brand. Like, do you remember when Pollen popped and made like this huge appearance on the market and everyone was going crazy? Because they offered a good price and high quality at the same time, which at this point in time was missing even from huge and enormous brands. The least you expect when you go to buy a Chanel bag is that the gold from the hardware won't tip off. So when people started reporting stuff like that, when people even started reporting issues with Van Cleef, which is a high-end jewelry luxury brand that has been here for ages, it's a bit contradicting what you have to pay and what you're getting offered. If you ask me, I believe, especially on leather goods and accessories, there are even some smaller and some high street brands that offer great quality if you don't want to go for the big names. But if you want to go for the big names, obviously I think Hermes is number one and will always remain number one. And the sales prove it. I mean, they're the second brand with the highest sales in luxury, and number one is LVMH. And let's consider the fact that Hermes is an independent-owned brand, and it's one brand when LVMH is a full umbrella of the majority of the big names in the luxury industry. So let's always keep that in mind. They're up there for a reason. They will remain there. And I think it's, if I can use the word investment and the word timeless, Hermes goes along with that. And also, to go back to my friend's story, when I actually asked her again after a few weeks if she managed to use it and how she finds the bag and all of that, she told me that she's actually still scared to use it, and she has it in her wardrobe and looks at it and she thinks it's a very pretty bag, which obviously it is, but she's a bit scared to use it, and she tends to use her old bags and especially her Zara bags that she has already, kind of torn apart, let's say, in a way, so she doesn't feel guilt of using them and completely destroying them and buy a new one because it's simply 30 euros out of your bank account. And I actually felt that because, again, this is what we do. We focus sometimes so much on trends, so much on hearing other people's advice, so much on going for the safest option possible that we end up not using the things we have, and we end up with closets full of clothes and full of items and bags and accessories and everything, and we wear just 3 or 4 or 5 out of those. And it's truly sad because, first of all, the cost per wear stops existing when that's the case. The investment is not an investment. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because the items keep staying there. You're staring at them, they're staring at you, and that's your relationship. And you keep spending and spending and spending more instead of going and buying the thing that gave you the butterflies and made you super excited on the first place. And if there is one thing I want you to keep from this video, is that joy you get from using and having the items you love is the actual investment. Fashion is meant to be experimental, is meant to be fun, is meant to be an expression of our personalities. Items are meant to be used and people are meant to be loved. Never forget that, and get your bag, get your shoes, get the most crazy item you think it's cool and it matches you and your personality, wear it, scratch it, destroy it, and truly fulfill its purpose. These items were made to be used. Use them. If you made it to this point of the video, I would love to hear down in the comments about your stories. If you ever made an investment that you don't actually wear or use, or you end up selling, so in that case it might actually be an investment. And what's the next piece you want to buy and you have been eyeing? I know that everyone is going crazy over Matthew Blazy for Chanel, and I know that you cannot find anything available. I think the Paris boutiques that the collection launched last week, if I'm not mistaken, or 2 weeks ago, almost immediately sold out. So we're going to see a lot of Chanel this spring and summer. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this video with your friends. Find me on the other social media platforms. I will have everything linked down below. I will be back with more and more videos, so I'll see you on the next one. And in the meantime, always stay fabulous.